notes for this unit. That for this final portion, the tale of the Sangreal leads to basically the beginning of the end for the round table. But it also, the tale of the Sangreal also is symbolic of stuff that was actually happening in Europe around this time. So it actually is symbolic of some actual historical events. Now, first of all, before we get into those historical events, here's some of the things that are kind of useful to know for the actual story itself, which you've watched the story already, but these might, we're going to talk about it a little bit, and I'll elaborate on what the video said a little bit, but not too much. First of all, the Siege Perilous is an important term. It is, of course, a special seat that is reserved for the Grail Knight. This was talked about in the video, and anyone that sits there that is not the Grail Knight was destined to die. Of course, we all die at some point, but they would die much sooner than they otherwise were expected to. Galahad is, of course, the Grail Knight, so it is his chair, and, of course, he eventually fills it. The Fisher King is a very important character, and it's one that I left out of the story, of the sort of the screencast, because I knew if I talked about the Fisher King, it would have added like 5 more minutes to the video, and I didn't really want to make a 20-minute video to have you guys watch. I wanted to keep it under 15 minutes. But the Fisher King is a ruler whose castle actually holds the Grail. It holds several other very significant items of religious importance as well, including our next item, which is the Spear of Destiny, sometimes also called the Holy Lance. And while I don't have it written up here, the Holy Lance, or the Spear of Destiny, is the spear that, according to sort of Arthurian folklore, was the same exact spear that was used to pierce Christ's side when he was on the cross. The spear that was used to actually kill Christ. Because of this, according to Arthurian folklore, according to the mythology that we have going on here, the lance was imbued with magical powers, because, of course, it touched the blood of Christ. The next one is one that I'm skipping for this particular lecture. It was a term I used last year, the Dolorous Stroke, but you don't need to worry about it this year. That takes the last one, which is Joseph of Arimathea. This is on your quiz, so you may already know this, so write it down if you want. Don't write it down if you want. That's up to you. But Joseph of Arimathea was a saint that supposedly brought the Holy Grail to Great Britain.